Hi, it's Pam from Pamela Lippitt Communications, back with another little program for you, a new podcast. It is the second full week in July. I don't know. I have flowers that are blooming that used to bloom in August and last till November. I don't know. You decide what's going on in the world. All I know is my plants are listening to the world, not to their normal cycle. But hopefully they will last a long time. Okie doke, here I am for today. I'm using a new recording system. So we will see if we like it. We will see if we're moving forward. You may ask why I'm changing. If the old program was good, they doubled the price. And not that I couldn't afford it, I could if I wanted to. However, I would rather have half that lots of money in my pocket than in a company's pocket. You know, for us solopreneurs, every dollar counts. Every dollar out is a dollar less in our pocket. I'm not going to say who, she knows who she is. Someone always says to me, it's okay, the company's paying for it. And I always answer, you are the company. If you're paying for all these things, that's very nice, but it is affecting your bottom line. So let's figure out how to balance that out in your own system. Though I do love when she offers to pay for things. All right, down to the meat of what we are talking about today. Here it is. Again, almost the middle of July. I don't know how we got into the seventh month of the year 2026. I don't know how we got to 2026 altogether, but for sure halfway through is making me a little bit crazy. Today, the topic, I thought in 2 minutes in, I would get to the actual topic, is taking my own advice. You know, as a consultant and a coach and a speaker, I love when people say to me, that was great advice. I tried that and it really made a difference. Or I had a coaching client once where we talked about the flow of what she was saying. The information is for her and for others is usually good. It's a matter of getting it in the right order, putting it together, meeting with the important things and not, as they used to say in the journalism classes, not burying the lead. So today I'm going to talk about taking my own advice because I too get crazy when someone responds to me and I'm like, but that's not what I meant. Yeah, am I the only one? Raise your hand if someone has ever said something back to you and your answer is, that's not what I meant. So first I'll talk about how I think we should deal with it when we're hearing something that we're not sure about. And that's very easy because you can say, what I heard was, I want to make sure we're on the same page. Say that again. Someone gives you an assignment, tells you something new, asks you a question, is soliciting your advice. The first thing I recommend you say back to them, and I'm recommending I take my own advice on this, is saying, okay, this is what I heard. I want to make sure we're on the same page before we move further. I have a friend who talks to me a lot about her husband. I'm not married, but people seem to unburden themselves on me anyway. Um, I said to her, and I think this is critical, especially if someone's telling you about interpersonal relationships. Um, do you want me to be a listener in this conversation, or do you want me to tell you what I think? Two very different things. That if you come back with, well, I think you should this and I think you should that, but all they really wanted to do was vent, then at the end of the day, they're going to be upset with you, not with their spouse or not with their business partner or not with their committee. Because you probably called up some things they didn't want to know or want to hear. It's okay to ask what they want from you. What do you want? I'm a great listener. I don't need to respond. I'm the person who's happy in the car when you're driving with someone and it's silent for a half hour. I think that's the sign of a great friendship, a great collegial relationship, because it means you're both comfortable in your skin. So if someone says to you, I want to tell you about, I'm going to take my own advice, and I'm going to more often say, okay, do you want me to just listen? And I'd love to do that, because you obviously need a sounding board. Or do you want me to tell you what I think, or give you some suggestions from other clients or other people who have been in the same situation? Those two things are very different. Okay, so on the other hand, if you're saying something, you can at the end say, there were like 4 specific things we talked about. Do you want to summarize what you heard, so when we walk away, we're on the same page? I don't think that's anything as a double negative, anything but positive. I think you want to be on the same page moving forward. One of the traps I think we fall into is when someone calls and says, oh, I need you to do this. This is important. Well, my important and their important might look very different. To me, important means stop what you're doing, take care of this, and then keep going on other things that get pushed down the line. Their important means they have a meeting in 2 weeks that they need this material for. Unless you determine that at the outset, you're going to be working on 2 totally different timelines, and nobody's going to be happy at the end. I've often said to clients as well, or bosses in the days when I had bosses, I love my boss now, I'm my own boss. But when I had bosses, I would say, okay, these are the 3 things I was planning on working on today, this week, whatever, those top priorities. Which would you like me to take off the next list to stick that thing in? So that preserves your time and your mental health, I think, because you're saying, I'm doing important work. I'm not adverse to doing your important thing, but everything can't get done if you're adding a 4-hour project into the next 2 days. It just can't. We'd like to think we're miracle workers. And I have to tell you, if you start doing that, it will never end. So for your own sanity, I suggest you start early and often setting those boundaries, setting that information, sharing that, figuring those things out together, and then it will be just a rhythm of how you're working with someone. The other thing I do that I give advice to for other people that I really try to do is send out a summary memo of a meeting or conversation. So Tuesday morning, normally when we're Zooming, we can, use AI and pull the chat up or the conversation up, and just big bang, boom, we're done with the thing. But I had a breakfast with someone this week. He's the president. I am someone who works for them part-time. It's one of my clients. And so I didn't have a computer. I wasn't taking a computer to breakfast. It's a pain. So I did take an agenda of the things that I wanted to cover, because it's very hard to get him for a meeting where we can concentrate and work together. We work together really well. So it's not a point of not working together well. It's really a time issue. So when I meet with him, I always bring a list of what I want to cover, and I'll tell you why. it gives the other person an opportunity to look it over, see how many things are on the list. If there's 3 things and you have 45 minutes for breakfast, you can use about 10 minutes for each thing and then have something at the end. But if there's 8 or 10 things like there was on the list last week, you kind of gotta push through them. And I always say, this is the list that is the order I've thought of things. It doesn't mean it's the order we have to talk about things. Let's just tackle the easy things first, just stuff I have to tell you, and then we'll concentrate on the other ones. That works. But what really works for me is I went back to my desk after, and by the end of the day, his meeting list became notes from our meeting. So I saved a copy of the original Word doc, and then in red, I put the outcomes to each of these things that we talked about. And on the bottom, I just put action items and a list of what each of us has to do. And when I finish doing my part, which will probably be Monday, I will send him a note back with this agenda with those action items marked off. That to me is a great way to communicate. I need to do it more often. We all need to do it more often. It makes your day go smoother. So I didn't think I would have enough to talk to fill up 10 minutes today. Here we are at almost 12 minutes. So apparently I had enough. You can never accuse me of not filling the space. So I want to wish you a not too hot, even though I like the hot weeks, but a relatively hot, low humidity week ahead with lots of sunshine and lots of success in the work you're doing. So everybody have a great day. I wanted to share with you a new offering from my company, Pamela Lippitt Communications. I'm actually offering a communications audit. So who is this for? It's for a company, a nonprofit, where there's new leadership, new board members, or new senior hires who may not be up to speed and are seeing different things when they're looking at different pieces of paper, because really it's the new people who are really diving in and looking at things. It could be because you have new programs or new clients or new services, and you want to give them a consistent message about your company. It may be that people are asking the same questions all the time. That means you should be answering it in your materials so they don't have to ask. And it's also if you're seeing internal frustrations among your team. Maybe they don't have the right materials they need. So if you're interested in a communications audit for your company, I am giving a bonus for anyone who mentions hearing this on the podcast. Not only will I do a communication audit of your materials, but I'll also come in person or via Zoom and meet with your team to go over all the materials as we start and as we finish to make sure everyone's on the same page. So with that, shoot me a text or an email if you're interested, and I am happy to reach out and discuss how your communications can be smoother, more concise, and lead to more business. Thank you.